we already know, man, they have been leaked Diddy's HIV status. And y'all think Jaguar Wright have been telling these lies for quite some time, but let me explain something to you. See, when you get into that documentary, right? When you get into that documentary and you go back to them Craig Mack days of when he caught HIV and he initially passed from full-blown, isn't that about the same timeline that they were sleeping with all the same? Oh, you better use your head.
Meek Mill came out saying that he'll pay somebody.
That's just like the video that's coming out with him and Will.
Courtroom audio of Cassie's sworn testimony about the settlement. Drop in the actual clip here, or use a news anchor read of the November 2023 filing for your own voiceover. If no clip is available, host delivers solo to camera in a whispered tone. She said on the stand that she would give every dollar back to undo what she says happened. That's the contradiction. The man wrote that, according to prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, what Cassie described wasn't an isolated relationship. It was, on paper in the indictment unsealed in court, the operating system of a criminal enterprise that ran for years. Manuals, staff, NDAs, schedules. That is the foundation of the racketeering charge that ultimately landed at trial. According to prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, what Cassie described wasn't an isolated relationship. It was, on paper in the indictment unsealed in court, the operating system of a criminal enterprise that ran for years. Manuals, staff, NDAs, schedules. That's the foundation of the racketeering charge that ultimately landed at trial. Then, on September 16, 2024, federal agents arrested Combs at a Manhattan hotel after he posted bond on separate charges in Los Angeles earlier in the day.
And you become a person that can be close to Puff, man, you made it, is what you're thinking.
Okay.
You never thinking these problems is going to happen, but when he pull his dick out,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You better suck it.
So if you, no, it's not just you better suck it. It's you know, you better fuck it and suck it.
Yeah.
Live news coverage of agents walking him out of the Manhattan hotel, hallway footage, or reporters stand up from outside the federal courthouse. Host solo alternative. The 3-count indictment unsealed in Manhattan federal court charged him with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The judge denied bail. A man worth close to $1 billion sat in a cell because no judge watching that record believed the money was a guarantee he would come back. The 3-count indictment unsealed in Manhattan federal court charged him with racketeering conspiracy, SXTR at ficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Judge denied bail. A man worth close to $1 billion sat in a cell because no judge watching that record believed the money was a guarantee he would come back. Now here's where the trial got messy, and here's the part a lot of people miss. Before the jury even got the case, the headlines were already treating him like a convicted K. LL3R, and the courtroom told a different story. On July 2, 2025, the jury in Judge Arun Subramanian's courtroom came back in a few hours with a split verdict. Not guilty on the racketeering conspiracy and the SXTR at ficking counts. Guilty on 2 counts of transportation for illegal SUL activity, the federal Mann Act counts tied to flights allegedly arranged across state lines.
I don't think nobody in America thinks there's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, you know, Kim had, I think, a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, you know, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
He actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop. And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
He an advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable, G?
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and would nobody be able to sue me?
Courtroom coverage of the moment the foreperson reads guilty on counts 4 and 5, or post-verdict newsroom anchor read of the split verdict. Host solo alternative. The prosecution walked in with 5 counts. They walked out with 2. That is the contradiction nobody talks about enough. The heaviest charges did not survive the courtroom. The lesser Mann Act counts did. And that split is exactly what the public is fighting over on every comment thread right now. The prosecution walked in with 5 counts. They walked out with 2. That's the contradiction nobody talks about enough. But then sentencing is what locks the story down. On October 3, 2025, Judge Subramanian delivered the sentence 50 months, roughly 4 years, well below the 11 to 16 the prosecution had asked for and below what the guidelines recommended.
I had like 15 encounters and I heard lots of business because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, I caught herpes and I came back and I sued them for the herpes and won. But they did Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible, I threw everything out, it's possible I can produce a copy.
Court audio of Judge Subramanian speaking from the bench, or immediate newsroom read of the sentence, or CNN/MSNBC anchor live outside the courthouse. Host solo alternative. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons records, his scheduled release date sits in 2028, which means whatever questions you still have about him, the clock is already running. And that is where it gets sticky. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons records, his scheduled release date sits in 2028, which means whatever questions you still have about him, the clock is already running. And that's where it gets sticky. Because here's what people keep whiffing on. The civil side and the criminal side are not the same thing. Cassie settled her civil case in 2023. Other accusers have also filed civil suits, claims of assault, drugging, exposure to sexually transmitted infections, which are allegations that plaintiffs have made under oath but that have not been proven in any criminal proceeding and were not part of the 7-week federal trial.
So y'all know I've come to terms that I don't know who gave me AIDS or HIV, right? So today I got a message about an interview that I should watch. And this interview happened to include a celebrity man that I was sexually with for a few years, and I actually had feelings for this person. And let's just say this interview put a very bad light on this person. And I've dealt with cops over this person due to sexual conduct stuff that I thought was no big deal, so I brushed it off. But the fact that it's coming back to my face and they're telling me this stuff about STDs and all this mess, and this man has been with me and everybody else doing the same thing with everybody else, and I don't know how to just brush it off anymore, because it's like, what if, what if this is the person who did this to me and he's living his best life? But hey, you can't have assumptions because it just makes an ass out of you and me. That's what they say. I'll never know, right? But I just don't like seeing stuff like that. I wake up and it ruins my whole day because I'm like, I don't think about this stuff for that reason, because I don't want to even, I can't do anything about it. I have it now. I'm half blind from it. I'm dealing with it. But if you did this to me and you've been fronting to me about, it's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. I don't know what to do, but I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to let it go. It's just too much that I've been seeing and I'm hearing is giving me, you did this to me. But I can't assume. And I'm going to leave it there. Because it is what it is. Can't do anything about it, can you? Nope. You just can't.
Plaintiff attorney statement at a press conference, civil court filing audio, or a legal commentator segment on MSNBC/Court TV explaining that civil and criminal are 2 different legal tracks. Host solo alternative. So when you hear a creator on YouTube say he was convicted of spreading disease inside a prison, That is an extrapolation the court record does not support. The court record supports 2 Mann Act convictions and nothing else. Civil pleadings are not convictions. They are allegations available for proof in another forum, in another year, possibly never. So when you hear a YouTuber say he was convicted of spreading disease inside a prison, that's an extrapolation the court record does not support. The court record supports 2 Mann Act convictions and nothing else. And then came the one thing that really did sting the family. Kim Porter's death in late 2018, ruled by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner as num 0 nia, autopsy completed, toxicology clean, case closed in 2019.
Attorney Lisa Bloom filed a lawsuit in California this morning against Usher Raymond for failing to tell people he had a sexually transmitted disease before being intimate with them. According to the lawsuit, Mr. Raymond, better known by his performing name of Usher, was diagnosed with herpes back in 2009. Apparently, he has never publicly denied it, and Bloom filed the lawsuit on behalf of 2 women and 1 man who say they contracted herpes from the singer. California law states it is illegal to knowingly or recklessly transmit an STD.
If Mr. Raymond is in fact a carrier of the virus, as these reports state, my 3 clients allege that he violated their rights by failing to warn them prior to having sexual contact with them. At least one of my clients has tested positive for the virus and alleges that it was Mr. Raymond who transmitted it.
Los Angeles County Medical Examiner press briefing audio from 2019, or Kim Porter's father speaking publicly about his doubts in a later interview. Host solo alternative. Her father publicly stated he never fully trusted that finding, and online commentary has run wild ever since. But the official document on file remains pneumonia. Anything beyond that is suspicion, not proof. And the public deserves both versions stated plainly. Her father publicly stated he never fully trusted that finding, and online commentary has run wild ever since. But the official document on file remains num 0 nia. Anything beyond that is suspicion, not proof, and the public deserves both versions stated plain. Now zoom out because this is the part that matters most for comments.
Man, thing I know, money come, with this mafia mentality with him and his goons and all that stuff like that. Talking about, you owe us an album. And I'm like, excuse my French, but I don't owe you. You owe me money.
Closing courthouse scene with reporters shouting questions, or post-verdict political and legal analyst clip from a network panel. Host solo alternative. The federal jury concluded that the racketeering enterprise charge, which carried the heaviest theoretical penalty, did not hold up under the evidence presented. They did not exonerate him. They did not clear his name. They simply concluded the prosecution had not crossed that specific legal threshold. 2 Mann Act convictions. 50 months. Release date in 2028. That is the entire confirmed shape of the case. Anything else attached to his name at this point lives in the world of allegations, podcasts, and unresolved civil claims. The federal jury concluded that the racketeering enterprise charge, which carried the heaviest theoretical penalty, did not hold up under the evidence presented. They did not exonerate him. They did not clear his name. They simply concluded the prosecution had not crossed that specific legal threshold. 2 Mann Act convictions, 50 months, release date in 2028. That is the entire confirmed shape of the case. Anything else attached to his name at this point lives in the world of allegations, podcasts, and unresolved civil claims. So now here is my open loop, and I want real answers in the comments.
You got to realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that there was no foul play in her death. How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach? How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing. Everything is missing that she could get in touch with her little girls if they not at home or some friends or family. All that's missing. How is it that, and this is her say, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner and them had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives and them that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case need to be reopened. We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out the paperwork. At the paperwork part, I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? And do we know whether she used that baby oil or not for that massage? It makes you say, that's a big man.
Extreme close-up on host, direct eye line into lens, slight pause before opening line, almost confrontational. 2 Mann Act counts were proven. A racketeering enterprise was not. Critics online are already calling that a slap on the wrist. Defenders are calling it proof the wildest allegations were always theater. Which side of that line are you on once you weigh the actual verdict and not the YouTube title, and why? Drop your take below, subscribe if you want the next chapter, and tell me what part of this case you still don't trust.